Everyone, welcome to the AAUW Member Recruitment Best Practices webinar. In just a few moments, we will get started as everyone gathers in the Zoom room.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. I'm Gloria Blackwell, CEO of AAUW, and I'm delighted to welcome you all today for this important conversation that's focused on strengthening our membership, both by bringing new members into our community and by ensuring that our current members feel valued, engaged, and connected. Membership really is the lifeblood of AAUW. It fuels our mission, sustains our work, and carries forward almost a century and a half of commitment to gender equity. So today we'll have the privilege of hearing from four outstanding AAUW branches from across the country. Each has developed creative, effective approaches to recruitment and retention, and they'll be sharing their sort of real world experiences, the lessons learned, and practical strategies that you can bring back to your own branches. I also want to give a special shout out to all of the branches that are participating in AEW's 5-star program. Your dedication to mission-based programming, strategic partnerships, advocacy, governance, and financial sustainability really sets a powerful example for our entire AEW community. The 5-star program is more than recognition. It really is a framework for branch success, and I do encourage all branches to continue striving toward these goals. And as we think about growth and engagement, I want to underscore the importance of branch alignment with AAUW National. When we move in the same direction, guided by our shared mission and strategic priorities, we amplify our impact, we strengthen our voice, and we build a more cohesive, future-focused organization. Now more than ever, your leadership at the local level really is essential, and your alignment with our national mission helps ensure that AAUW continues to thrive. So with that, it is now my pleasure to introduce someone who plays a central role in shaping AAUW's direction. Um, and she supports our advancement efforts, Diane Owens, who serves as chair of AEW National's Board of Directors, as well as the chair of the Advancement Committee. She is a dedicated leader, a passionate advocate, and a steadfast supporter of AAUW's mission. So please join me in welcoming Diane Owens.
Thank you, Gloria, for that kind introduction. As Gloria said, I'm both the chair of the AUW board and I am the chair of the Advancement Committee. So we've been working hard on this webinar and I hope you all enjoy it. Tonight, we're going to meet these four very interesting branches and very active branches across the United States who have been successful, as Gloria said, in recruiting and retaining their new members. And they have been very successful, and they're not going to keep it a secret. They're going to share with you their tips for how they got their members. We had a list of many branches that have grown their members in the past year. So this is the four that we chose to show you how to do it. We all want to attract more members, as Gloria mentioned, to help us in our mission of equity for women and girls. We want new members to help us thrive in our communities and to advocate for policies to help us and all of our families. So let's get started. I want to introduce our moderator for the evening, Katrina Sunbreeze. Katrina is our Senior Director of Institutional Advancement, and she works on membership and fundraising for AUW at our headquarters in Washington, D.C. Many of you already know Katrina from previous webinars and as the author of Membership Matters, among other publications. We're fortunate to have Katrina with us tonight. Thank you, Katrina, for leading our membership discussion this evening. Thank you, and take it away.
Thank you so much, Diane and Gloria, for that warm welcome. And now it's my great pleasure to welcome the stars of the show and our wonderful panelists today. I'm really proud to gather these great women who have done fantastic work in their branches across the country. And they have a really great diversity of perspectives and experiences, but all have seen some success in the methods that they've been using in their branches. And we hope you will be able to take from them some ideas, some resources and tools that can help you in your branches across the country. So I will call upon each of the branches for a quick introduction, and I am pleased to start with AAUW Morgan Hill.
Hello, hi, I'm Chrissy Borsier, and I'm president of the Morgan Hill branch, and
I'm Sherry Wren. I'm membership co-chair of the Morgan Hill branch.
And we are a branch of about 205. We seem to hover around that number, members. We're based in Morgan Hill, a small town south of San Jose in California. We've been around since 1981. Our members range from in their 20s to in their 90s. We have a wide range. And we serve the Morgan Hill community. There's a San Jose branch north of us, and there's a Gilroy branch south of us. One thing that we're really known for is our one fundraiser that we do every year. It's called the Wildflower Run. And we've been doing this for over 40 years. We started it right away. It's a huge community event, and we have a 2K, a 5K, and a 10K. And we bring in money from sponsors, registrations, and member donations. It's been a great fundraiser for us.
Thank you. And next, I'd like to call upon the Carlsbad, New Mexico branch.
Hi, my name is Cassie Mars, and I'm the co-president of the Carlsbad branch.
Good evening. My name is Kat Davis, and I'm the co-chair of programs for our Carlsbad branch.
So our branch has about 76 members in Carlsbad, New Mexico, which is kind of located in the southeast corner of the state. We have a population of about 31,000 according to the census. And our members also range from about late 20s to late 70s. And we do have one male member in our branch. And then our focus for our branch is really on empowering younger women. So we like to give out scholarships to high school students, and as well as our local community college. We honor the higher performing high school students, and we also host an annual STEM event for school girls.
Wonderful, thank you. And next we have our AAUW North Hills branch.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Schwobel. This is my sister Francie Check, and we are vice president co-chairs of our branch in the North Hills of Pittsburgh, which is about 10 miles, 11 miles north of the city, and encompasses several townships. And we are proud to be holding tight with our membership, but we are also looking for ways to continue growing. We're currently a branch with 66 members, and our average age is circa 70, but we do have a handful of younger members, and we're thrilled that we have 20 student members because we partner with a local university, LaRoche University, here in the North Hills of Pittsburgh. One of the things that we're most proud of is that since 1988, our chapter was formed in 1970, long before we came into the picture. But since 1988, our branch has been giving an educational grant to a student at LaRoche University, sometimes one, sometimes two. Back in 1988, it's called the Sister Matilda Award because a sister at LaRoche University passed away, and in her honor, there were 2 grants given for $500 each.
we have continued that tradition for almost 40 years, and now the grant is up to $2,500 for a student at La Roche University. And we do a lot of things in the community. We partner with the other organizations in the North Hills to participate in the North Hills International Day of Peace and the Martin Luther King Junior Unity Breakfast, which is also hosted at La Roche University. We partner with a number of different things, but the scholarship, the grant, is probably that's the heart of our organization, supporting women's education.
Wonderful, thank you. And then last but not least is our AUW Rapid City branch.
Hi, I am Lisa Feisick, and I am the membership chair. I'm here with Carol Johnson, who is one of our co-chairs of the Rapid City branch. We currently have about 112 members, and they range in age from the mid-20s to the mid-80s. We have 22 what we call Golden Girls, members who have been part of AAUW for over 30 years. And proud to say that we have 14 new members since we started back up in September in our meetings. So our goal, once we have our 100th year anniversary in 2027, we were formed in 1927, is to make sure we maintain at least 100 members. And I think we're well on track to meet that goal. We serve the population of the Black Hills. Rapid City is a population of about 85,000. The Black Hills area, Western South Dakota area, is about 170,000. And so we've got a large population yet to target.
Thank you. So you can see we have wide range of branches, but I think that one thing that certainly unifies all of you is that you're really proud to be a part of your branches. And there's a bit of a diversity too, in terms of your members, both those who are newer as well as those who are legacy members or Golden Girls. I love that you call them Golden Girls. I'm sure all of our branches have many Golden Girls there. So many of you probably noticed upon registering for today's webinar that we had one question, which was, if there was any question about membership that you'd like to ask or be answered during today's webinar, what would it be? And I have to say that half of the questions were around how do I recruit younger members? That was quite a popular question. And it may not come as any surprise that the first question about this in particular that I will direct this to is the AUW Carlsbad branch. They've done a really fantastic job recruiting younger members, and I'd love to be able to highlight their work. But truly, all of our branches here today have had success in being able to recruit younger members as well as members who are older. And also too important to note, not everyone means the same exact thing when we say younger members. That doesn't necessarily mean someone in their 20s. Younger members for many branches is individuals in their 50s or 60s. And so younger is really quite relative. But I did want to start with the conversation first with AUW Carlsbad and call upon some of our other branches about the question of what has really led to the success of recruiting younger members for your branch. And what kinds of programs and activities have you built so that different generations within your branch can enjoy participating in these events together, really intentionally creating an environment in which all of your members of all ages feel welcome, but in particular, what has really led to your success in recruiting those younger members?
Okay, so I'm going to start. I first joined AUW back in 2014. I was 24 at the time, and I was the youngest member by about 20 years. And the member who was about 20 years older than me was the youngest member for a while before then. So I was kind of the one who kind of came in to get things kick-started with the younger group. When I went to my first meeting, they appointed me as communications chair, and that night I went home and created a Facebook page because they didn't have any kind of social media pages. So we started a Facebook page, and that kind of started getting us a little bit more attention in the community. And while I worked pretty hard for the next 5 years trying to get our name out there, it wasn't until really recently that we really saw the big change. But some of the things that I started doing with the group is, I think it was either 2016 or 2017, we decided to change the way that we did our fundraiser. So before, our fundraiser for the year was always a garage sale. And so we decided to do something a little different. So what we do now is it's called Wine and Tapas, and it's just kind of a night of food and drinks and live music and auctions and we open it up to the community to come out. So that has really brought in a lot of interest from the community and other people. And we also raised more money than we did with the garage sale. So that was one of the big changes that we did. And then in 2018, we started an event called the Champagne Brunch and Blanc, and I'll let Kat talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But when we did that in 2018 and 2019, again, that was a community event that was open to the public. And we saw some increase in membership at those events because we did use Shoot the Future. But then, of course, COVID happened. And then, we kind of started declining in members. And then it wasn't until after COVID that we kind of wanted to get kickstarted again. And we started, doing our programs, doing more public events. And, in the last 2 years, we've seen a really large increase in our membership. And so Kat, she's kind of in that group of the people who have kind of come in recently with the, membership increase and the younger members. And just to give you an idea, I did kind of take a guess. I think we have about 24 members that are under the age of 40 out of our 76 members, to kind of give you an idea of what I mean by younger members. So I'll let Kat kind of talk about a little bit more about our programs and what attracted her to our branch.
Yes, so I guess I'm one of the younger members, both in my time with the organization and my age. So I can clarify that. I've been a member of the branch about 2 years, but I kind of joke, I got involved through a trade deal at the time. So I know partnerships is a real emphasis of all of our branches that we want to, make sure reaching out to different areas of the community. I was actually asked to speak at one of the events that we do to honor the high school students, which was one of the most intimidating events I've ever spoken at in my life, inspiring the youth of our community. There was about 250 girls that we have at that event each year. So it is really great. But that's really where my awareness of AAUW came into place. And then once we actually did a kind of trade deal where I was part of another empowerment, just like little one-off group in our community. And we had the New Mexico AAUW president actually come and speak at our event. So it was a real seamless partnership, a trade-off deal, as I call it. But I've been involved with the branch ever since, which again, it's only 2 years, but I do feel like I jumped headfirst in. My career is very involved with the community. So I was able to step into the meetings. And I think when we talk about recruiting younger members, we do also want to make sure that they're being heard and that their voice brings value, while also not neglecting the years of legacy that's come before us, and continuing both of those. So I felt immediately welcomed, and I felt like my voice was heard. Suggestions that I brought up, they weren't, shunned away, or this is how we've always done things. So I feel like that is what encouraged me to stay, was because I actually felt like I brought value and I was listened to. I will say sometimes if I brought up an idea, it's like, okay, that's a great idea, you go do it. But I also would never mention something if I weren't going to do that. So I will say a way to not only encourage younger people to come, but to get them involved and then to step up to those leadership roles will really be to hear their ideas out. And also, you don't know if something's going to work until you try it. The only failure is lack of trying, I think. So if you try an event or a fundraiser or a new idea and it kind of flops one year, that doesn't mean you can't revamp it and move forward for the years going forward. And so I know Cassie had mentioned the Champagne Brunch. It had started pre-COVID. I joined post-COVID, so I'm only familiar with that part. But I think it's a good example of the years that we couldn't host the event, and then the change that we saw when we relaunched it about 2 years ago, is that we just really elevated the event, I guess. And now we treat it honestly as our biggest membership drive. Cassie mentioned utilizing the Shape the Future. It just, so that's a perfect, combination of an event plus a membership drive. We have it typically in August each year.
Yeah, around Women's Equality Day.
Yes, so that's, and we talk about that during the event. And a really great way to engage the community and non-members as part of it is that we accept nominations for women in our community, and we give out a Women of Impact Award at that event. So it's a great way, we invite them, their families, and things like that. So the person who received the nomination does not have to be a member, and it attracts a lot of other community members to come check it out. It's a great social event, but it also makes sure to talk about AAUW, our values, Women's Equality Day, and all of those things. So I think while we're working on a lot of events and programmings, I really think that we keep the tradition of the branch and AAUW while welcoming the new and the different. We still host monthly book clubs. We'll do a lunch bunch, which a lot of our older members tend, to go to. That's kind of their realm. But some other things that we've done, we're very fortunate to have one of our members who owns a brewery that has a little event space on the side. So we've hosted, in March, we've done like women's trivia nights at that. So it's open to members of the public, but it is hosted by people in our branch. We're doing a music bingo, like for women's for next year. So I think different one-off events like that. We've done a vision board party there. So yeah, I think also just introducing some new ideas has been a real benefit, and you never know what's going to pique somebody's interest and then really hook them to be involved and stay engaged.
Thank you. I'm curious too. I know the Rapid City branch with your recruitment has also been recruiting some younger members as well. What has your experience been in your branch?
I think the main reason we've had so much success with younger members is we've really created some powerful programs, and they're great speaking points. And then we have social media that starts promoting the speakers, and the speakers offer, they're the kind of people in the community that people want to hear. So for example, we had women entrepreneurs, and the woman who just became the hospital CEO came. We don't just get to hear her. You have to go to a regularly scheduled event or something. And that was really important. But what I think is most important is the programs provide teachable moments. And I shared this with Diane, and Diane, I'm going to do it. Our last speaker, November 1st, is a colonel in the National Guard. He went to Iraq, and when he was 48 years old, he's a flight surgeon. He went to a local sporting goods store and was in line to buy some items, and the person in front of him was asked if they were a veteran. We have an Air Force base here, Ellsworth, and was given a discount. And when Dr. Kumar went up with his basket filled of things, they didn't ask him if he wanted a discount, if he was a veteran. And he said, well, I'm a veteran. Do I get a discount? And the clerk said, teachable moment. You're not, it's only available to Americans. He was born in India, but he's a US citizen. He served 4 deployments. So that teachable moment, that moment, then gets spread throughout the community, right? People tell the story, and the story becomes more powerful and really reinforces how important the messaging at AUW is, that we welcome all. And the best part about it is that they tell their friend wants to find out more about AUW, and then they come to the meetings. We do a great job of encouraging guests, and it's amazing at 3 different socials, the conversion rate of those guests to members, which is how, we've had 14 since September, and we had a social in September when Dr. Kimberly Adams came to visit. So we're really happy about that.
Yeah, I think a common thread can be having events that are open to the public in which you welcome members of the community to get to know your organization and be interested in mission-based topics. And speaking of a branch too that has some successful events, the Morgan Hill branch, how have you been recruiting younger members in your branch?
So I love all these ideas that you guys have. I think we it, we recruit girls first of all with Tech Track, and I'm not sure if all which states have that, but in California it's a STEM camp. It's a week long at a university, at a college campus. And we give scholarships to rising 8th grade girls to attend this camp who wouldn't normally have that, wouldn't be able to do that. So we get these girls, and then we send them to camp. And then when they come back, and, we introduce them at the Wildflower Run, and we keep them very engaged. They come and talk to our branch. Then we have a high school program starting at 8th grade. Once they're done, we call it the Young Women Leaders. And their thing is they put on a conference in June. So they work during the school year putting together this conference, getting speakers, what sessions do they want to have, and then they put that on in June. And they stay in our YWL, Young Women Leaders group, till they're seniors. And then when we're going around getting ready to give out our scholarships, they get a special star on their, in the interview. Oh, you're one of our YWL girls, or you're one of our Tech Track girls. I think, and then once they have a scholarship, we also have what we call keeping in touch scholarships. So once we, pat their back and give them some money and send them off to college, they can come back to us, and we keep on giving them money to help them through till they get their degree. And I think the one thing that people say the most that they like about AAUW is the mission, and that they want to, reach out to other women and girls and keep promoting that equity and education for all women and girls. So between our high school and college programs, we also get the mothers of the Tech Trek girls, the mothers of the scholarship recipients, and then just in general through the town, recognition through the town. I'd say.
Yeah, that's great that there's, multiple generations that are being engaged and supported with AUW. But I do agree where I have seen a lot of great successes where there's a nice mix and balance of social while also being mission centered and having that at the core of the kind of programming that you do. And one thing that certainly is core to our mission that I think we all as branches have in common is this desire to support women in education, and the partnership that North Hills has had with a local college or university, LaRoche. Is it university or LaRoche College? LaRoche University. I definitely want to highlight, and also your success in recruiting student members. And so if you wouldn't mind, Francie and Jenny, I would love to hear more about how you've really developed your successful longstanding partnership with LaRoche, and then also what that journey has been like, but a little bit more detail about what that partnership really looks like and how you've seen success in recruiting student members.
For the Catholic school?
Well, I have to say that we are most fortunate because the partnership between LaRoche University and the North Hills Pittsburgh branch of AAUW was established before we came along. And it is a very strong partnership. The path, therefore, was already made to encourage student members, because not only does LaRoche, they are our gracious hosts for most of our programs and events, and they have been for many, many years, but they're also institutional members of AAUW, which allows for their students to join for free. The one thing that Jenny and I have done, I feel like the path was already established, but we've been able to widen the path or smooth it out a little, take out a few of the hurdles for students. One of the ways we were able to do that, there seemed to be a little glitch before we came along, and some people thought that the students had to pay the $18.81 to be a member. And even though that doesn't seem like a great deal of money, I think when you're a student, that can be. Coming up with $20 could be a lot. So we removed that because being an institutional member, as LaRoche is, the students can join for free. The second little hurdle that we took out of the way was most of the student organizations at LaRoche University have to be established and have a president and a treasurer in place. And we helped work through that process. They really don't need to have those things because they can just join us. We already have officers in place and they can just be part of our organization. So we think by removing those hurdles, as I said, it just helps smooth out the path that was already established. And we've been able to have between 20 and 25 student members for the past few years. We also invite those students to everything that takes place, all of our programs, all of our events. And we also try to feature some special events specifically with students in mind. We have a younger member that offered a special opportunity for students to come and learn about personal finance. We have had salary negotiations sessions for them as well, things that are particularly helpful for young women about to embark on their career. But we invite them to all of our programs, and needless to say, some of our programs lend themselves perhaps a little bit better to having students attend. One of the programs that has been the most successful at bringing in students was one that we have had for several years, and that was where we featured women who have been grant recipients from AAUW and are in their graduate work. And they zoomed in with us from different states or different parts of the world. And that was of particular interest to many of the students at LaRoche University, needless to say. So we really value that partnership. We're also happy that despite a few changes that have taken place through the years, or changes in leadership at LaRoche University, including recently, that partnership is still very much of value, not only to us, but to them. And so we just feel that even if the students aren't terribly active with us at this point in their lives, it plants a seed that will go forward. And I think that's important. We're planting the seed of AAUW, as I always say, in their mind that hopefully they'll take forward for many years to come. And one of the small things, so to speak, that we do each year for the last several years is we provide graduation cords, AAUW graduation cords for the student members, and have a special picture taken with them. And again, just something that hopefully they'll be proud of and take forward with them wherever they go.
I think that's a really great idea. Who doesn't want an extra graduation cord on graduation day, right? It's such a proud moment. And so I love that. I am also curious too, where is it that you recruit these members? Do you have tabling events? Do you, where is it that you're finding the students on campus and recruiting them?
Good question. LaRoche has a student activities fair at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of September each year. And so members before us had set up a table, and Jenny and I have set up a table in the last few years and engaged in lots of conversations with students and
provide a lot of freebies for them to take, including not just food, which is always huge, little candy, but confetti stuff and just eye-catching colors. And
stickers.
We give them stickers, the water bottle stickers, but we order them that are all about women and equity, empowerment, and, very positive life reflections for them to take with them. And hopefully when they drink that cup of coffee, they'll also think of us and do more than just sign their name. And we do reach out then after a couple weeks and try to keep them reminded of what's coming up and what they can do.
That's great. And with as many fellowships and grants that we award and other resources, even on advocacy and policy on gender equity that the national office has too, there's lots of things that virtually they can engage in as well. But I don't know many college students who would turn down like free pizza or something
don't.
like that, an event with some food. I feel like, or even just the candy. There's not a tabling event that I do without at least some mints, because people will stop by and just grab a mint and, have a moment to talk to you and hear what you're all about. So that's really great.
Well, and we do encourage them just to come to the
Just come
programs.
and see.
And
Listen,
whether we have pizza or cookies or whatever, just
Mhm.
come and bring a friend that might not be an official, so to speak, student member, but of course, again, bring their friends, come to the program. And it's interesting that for the past few years, when we have awarded the Sister Matilda grant, which is awarded every September, there are many friends in the room, and some of those students decide at that time that they'd like to join us as AAUW members as well.
Great. Thank you. I'm going to switch gears a little bit, but still on the topic of events and programming. I know the Rapid City branch has done some really great community-focused programming to expand your reach. And we talked about that 100-year anniversary and really maintaining those 100 members. I think it's fantastic that you have this very specific goal that's, I think, driving a lot of your hard work and maintaining not just the new members or recruiting new members, but also just retaining your membership. And so I would love to hear a little bit more about the different activities or programs that you do, and then also how you've utilized Shape the Future to be a part of the success of your branch.
Programs,
There we go.
as I said before, are the aha moments. It's interesting, the socials are what really attracted a lot of the younger members, but the older members, so the Golden Girls and those in between, like we are, actually are so happy to see the younger members. It creates quite a happy environment. And we've had, like I said, we've had 3 socials, and each one has netted a number of new members. And the programs, the first 3 years ago, when I got involved with programs, we started trying to find those outstanding people that, unless you're in Rotary or something where you have a lot of speakers, you wouldn't hear. We have a School of Mines in Rapid City, so there are some interesting professors. And one of them went to school at the University of St. Petersburg in Russia, and she came to speak. And it was perfectly timed with our scholarship awards. And so these young campus students, many from the School of Mines and other schools in the area, were in the audience listening to this professor talk about being interviewed by the KGB in order to get permission to study abroad. Now, if you didn't think that started a conversation on campus, it probably went widespread, right? Because I don't think this professor openly says that. So that, again, goes back to what really brings value to the time that you spend. Particularly the younger members, are very busy, right? So how do you create a program that makes them feel really good that they took an hour, hour and a half out of their morning on a Saturday to attend? And this last meeting, a woman came up to me and said, I feel so bad. I want to join, but I have kids at basketball, and basketball is going to start. And I said, you're welcome anytime. Just come, be my guest. That's the key. Asking and be my guest. Feel welcomed. And we live in a place where being progressive isn't what we're known for. I mean, that's more of a California vibe than a South Dakota vibe. And so many of the members feel so comfortable being part of the community, and that you have to really work on. The board has to do it, other members have to do it, and then the time they spend is of great value to them to be part of AUW.
I think that certainly having that welcome and inclusive environment is really key to ensuring that people feel comfortable coming to your events. A follow-up question too for you and maybe some of the other branches is, how do you publicize your events, particularly those that are open to all? I'm assuming a variety of different ways, but how do you make it known to your community, at least starting with Rapid City, about the events for your branch?
We have the best communications director this year who teased Dr. Kumar for 3 social media posts, right, on Facebook. And she described them, but she didn't tell you who it was until 3 later. And that created a lot of buzz, like, who is it? Who is it? And then she announced, we share pictures, we have a newsletter, Lisa does a fabulous job of emailing. We announce the speakers at our spring social so they know what's coming up in the fall. And the social media, I'll brag a minute, our views are up 300% from a year ago, which is pretty good, right? And we've increased our follower count and we've gotten new members.
Yes. Yeah. And we also, there's a lot of cross-pollination among different nonprofits in the area. And so when I go to some sort of workshop or conference, sitting at a table of female business owners, I'll be like, hey, we have a meeting coming up this Saturday. I think you'd really enjoy our speaker, or, you should really think about joining us. It's the first Saturday of every month. Please come and be my guest. We'd love, I think you'd really enjoy what we have to present, what we have to offer. And just, inviting people whenever you go someplace. It might not be their cup of tea, but they might be new to town and looking to make those connections, or new empty nesters that are trying to reestablish, some sort of community of their own. That would be me. Just making sure they know that they're welcome and that they know that we're out there.
Yeah. I see the North Hills branch is unmuted. So would you have something to add?
I would agree. Asking people all the time, wherever we are. If I'm engaged in a number of other community groups, inviting those folks to join us. We also have a website and a Facebook page and a newsletter and good communication, but that personal invitation, I think, really means a lot. We also have our big fundraiser that provides the money for our grant. And so many people around the community come. We host well over 100 people, and we always make sure that not only do they know they're welcome to come and join us, but we start reaching out to them and sending them a little note, an email, but reminding them, encouraging them to come join us. No pressure, so to speak. Just come join us for coffee and cookies and conversation and some of the great speakers that we have at our programs. And to be honest, sometimes it's taken a little while, but we do follow up with folks. And we just had someone join us a few weeks ago who I've been following as she travels around the world, but she came and joined us, and that was 2 years, I think, after we've been in touch. But she always wanted to know more. She wanted me to keep her informed, and she came and joined. So I think that persistence and being welcoming is just so important.
Yeah. Also too, I think it was the Rapid City branch, you were mentioning that you also attend the events of other local organizations, sort of that community outreach and partnership. Can you tell us a little bit more about that as well?
Yeah, I think a lot of us are very active in the community anyway. And so we just take advantage of being out and about to talk about, what we're doing. I was actually at a Juneteenth event and sitting at a table and talking to the women at the table. And like our Northern Hills colleague said, that there was a woman there that she says, oh, I've been meaning to join. I'm like, well, you should come to our next meeting. And she did, and she's a member. And so, it's just reminding them and just being active and not being afraid to talk about it. And we encourage, especially our younger members, to invite their friends, come. Just, and we're a Rotary, we're Habitat for Humanity, we're all these other organizations that we're involved in, and we're always talking about it and making sure that people know that they're more than welcome to join us.
That's great. Now, I wanted to shift a little bit. So we've recruited some new members. We've gotten that members been thinking about it for many, many years. The folks at North Hills have been stalking throughout the globe online, right? And then she joins. I know the Morgan Hill branch, being a larger branch, has some established systems, right? You all have been good about maintaining a good, you were saying about 200 or so membership base. And I know that you've done well having a bit of a process for how you're welcoming new members into your branch. I'd love to hear a little bit more about what that looks like for you all and what kinds of things perhaps others can replicate in their own branches.
I think Sherry's put together a wonderful program about bringing people in. So like when we're out and about and we meet new people, if Sherry's there, she's always ready to sign them up right away. But also we always know we can just email her, share the information with her, and we know she will follow up personally with everybody. But I'll let her tell you what she does.
So when I go to the events, I carry my little square reader. And so there's no excuse if you don't have a check, you can join right now. I have a prospective member letter. And if it is at a public event, of course, you get a discount on national dues. That attracts a lot of people. I know at Wildflower Run, I get a lot of new members because they're just there and they see this carnival atmosphere, and we have every interest group has a booth. There's places for children to do activities, and people come and join. After they've joined, I send I have them fill out a little form that has all the committees on it and all the interest groups on it, and have them tick the box of which ones they're interested in. And then I send that information to all of the interest group chairs so that they can look at it and contact the people that have shown interest in in person. We have another chair, a friendship chair, that sends them a welcome note. Then Chrissy sends them a handwritten note, or you said she sends them an email that is very welcoming. And what else?
So yeah, and I think the thing is that she always makes sure, all of these events that we do, we kind of have a big presence. It's nice because it's a small town. It's 45,000 in the town. So, we can get a lot of visibility with our big red canopy. But Sherry always makes sure we have that interest, the letter that explains the program. And she's trained us all on telling people about Shape the Future. Whenever I welcome people, whenever I do my little welcome spiel at the beginning of something, I always mention Shape the Future. She always makes sure that, we know to ask people, like you're saying, and that is the biggest thing, just to ask someone.
And our members bring guests to almost every event that we have. So they can't resist, especially if they have their credit card.
Of course, that's great. Now, I know the folks at AAUW Carlsbad also have a new member orientation. Would you mind sharing a little bit about what that looks like for your branch?
Yeah, so last year after our champagne brunch, we got, a huge amount of new members. I think it was like 30 members or something after that had happened. So I think it was actually Kat's idea to have this new membership or new member orientation. And what we decided to do is, like, in the past, we get a new member and we weren't really great at, maybe reaching out to them personally and saying, welcome. We just kind of started sending them the regular emails that we sent to everybody. And then they'd have like a bunch of questions. And so we're like, maybe we should do something that kind of explains to the new members, exactly who we are, what we do, because, it makes me think of when I would go to the national conventions back in the day, and they would talk about like the AAUW, like, what's your elevator speech? So you kind of give like your elevator speech to get them to come into your branch. And then, but it doesn't really give like all the details of what there is to do. So we started doing this new member orientation at the same brewery that we mentioned earlier. And so we invite the new members and as well as our other members as well. It's open to the whole group. And we just kind of get up there and tell them like, this is the events that we have planned for this year. And this is what happens at those events. And this is the help that we need, you know, whether it's bringing food or decorating or just, you know, getting the word out about the events. And so we started doing that last year and we had a big turnout at the first one. And so we decided to do it again this year. And I think it's helped. I think it's helped with the new members kind of getting to know, you know, a little bit more about who we are. The other thing too is we talk about, you know, what's happening at the state level. For example, we also have a tech track here in New Mexico. So we get some help from people who are like, you know, have never heard of it and they want to help. And then also we talk about national, like what, you know, like these webinars and some of the resources that they can get from the national website as well. Because I know this year at the new member orientation, someone was like, oh, it's a national organization too, like after they had already signed up and everything. So yeah, I think it's just good to kind of like explain like, you know, there's more than, you know, just coming and drinking champagne.
Kind of go more in depth of what we do locally. And I think also how our yearly calendar falls, it's perfect. We usually like end, you know, for our meetings, we don't really meet over the summer months, but we have like a really nice event in May to kind of wrap up the year. Then we start back in August with this champagne brunch that we really teaches our membership drive. So like our September meeting is when we do the orientation. So it really just sets up success for like the rest of the year, while we do already have all the events and dates kind of locked in at that point. So new members can come and hear the funner side of events versus we do like a logistical planning meeting in like June or July, which is members specific because it's really marking literally everything on a calendar for the entire year. So we have all that established. So like Cassie said, it's really nice for them to be able to ask questions. I know when I joined, we didn't have an orientation, so it was kind of just thrown in. You can figure it out, you can learn it, but it is nice when you're new to a group to what is AAUW. A lot of people ask that, like, what does the acronym actually stand for? Little things like that, where us Tech Trek, they roll off your tongue because shape the future, you know, all those terms and acronyms, you're used to saying them all the time, that sometimes we forget to slow down and actually spell out what they mean. So it's a really great opportunity to do that.
That's great. We could, I think, talk for hours and hours with each of these branches and deep dive even more. But you know, we are almost towards the end of our time together today. I fully expected it just because each of you have such great stories, such great tips, advice, and then models that I think others can you know, replicate or at least take from each of your branches, things that resonate well and that you can try. I think that what Kat was saying about the only failure is not trying, I definitely agree. And I think being able to come out of your comfort zone a little bit, be able to hear how others are doing things, being open to new things certainly is a way to be able to bring in new people and to have welcoming spaces, have them be heard, and then center what it is that you do as a branch in the mission and really the core of who AAUW is. So I just want to thank each of you so much. As we part, I'd love to hear from each of you, perhaps what your like most used or well-loved resource is for you or your branch, just so that we can kind of highlight some resources, whether that is something on your state website, the AAUW national website, we've heard Shape the Future, different webinars. So if you don't mind, I'd love to call on each of your branches, and I can start perhaps with AAUW Morgan Hill on what your well-loved resource is for you and your branch.
Yeah, thanks, Katrina. The one that I use a lot is our state website, AAUWCA. And they have, if you go there, it's good for whatever state you're in. At the top, there's a link to branch tools. And if you go in the branch tools, they have all kinds of forms, they have ideas, just a treasure trove of things to use and links and good stuff. So I really think any state would find it really helpful. So that's my tip.
Great, thank you. How about next, AAUW North Hills?
I think it's hard to just choose one resource. When we first came onto this role several years ago, I used the state quite a bit, and one of our state officers, the person in charge of membership, was wonderful, and she hosted several Zoom meetings throughout the year for us to share and ask questions, and it was so very helpful. You got to take a look at different branches and what challenges they faced and how they were addressing those challenges. And I learned so much. But I also use the national website quite a bit, and membership matters in writing my articles every month. So
Great, thank you.
And I think this webinar is inspiring us to check out other states' websites. So I agree with what Morgan Hill said. Don't feel limited to your own state. Reach out.
Definitely. And I think today's an example of the spirit of collaboration and sharing great ideas. Thank you. Rapid City.
Well, we are in a state that doesn't have a state chapter, so we don't have a state website per se. We have one small chapter on the eastern side of the state, which is probably about a 7-hour drive from here. So we're not really in proximity to them. But I have to say the national resources are very good. I do like Membership Matters. And I really like the fact that we have been encouraged to highlight notes from national in our meetings as well as in our newsletter, because it really forces you to read everything and try to figure out what will really resonate with your members. So thank you for all those resources you provide. And we'll come look at the California website.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. And to close it off, AAUW Carlsbad.
So I actually think one of our most used resources is actually one of our members. So we have like a member who she's about to hit her, I think, 50-year mark this next year. And so with all of us younger members, we're like constantly reaching out to her. Like, I can't remember, like, you know, what are we a 501c3 or 501c4? And like, why? Or questions like, I can't remember, Shape the Future, that's like half off dues, you know. So we actually use her as our probably biggest resource in addition to like the national website. So we're really thankful to have those members who have been around a long time.
Great. There are a lot of members that even I will ask, you know, I have members who've been members for over 50 years. So that's like your own personal little AAUW chat GPT, right? You just sort of ask a question and then it comes out. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you all once again. This is the time where we close. I really appreciate you sharing what your favorite resources were. And of course that, you know, membership matters, and some of the resources that we have for each of you on the national website are there. We're always working on ensuring that we can improve them and offer programs like this that I think hopefully will continue to be helpful for those that are in attendance, as well as those who will see the recording of today's webinar later on. I do want to give a plug for our 5-star program. On AAUW National's website, we have our 5-star page. Another common thread of all the branches you've heard from today is that each of them participated in our annual branch survey. That was a way for us to learn more about the activities of these branches, what they have seen success in, some of their programs, and how they have progressed in a variety of areas. All of these branches have earned stars in multiple categories, and we're really proud of all that they have accomplished, including whether it's growth or new member recruitment and retention. And so I want to give a special shout out and plug for our AAUW 5-star program webpage, which Tremaine has graciously linked in the chat. When you go there for each of the 5-star categories, you'll see corresponding resources that you can go to and learn more about. We also have a page on the Shape the Future program. So if your branch would like to learn more about Shape the Future and how some of our branches have really utilized that program as they do membership drives and recruit new members and are able to qualify for some discounted or free memberships, please do check it out. We are right at the hour, so thank you all so much for joining us today. Thank you so much to AAUW Carlsbad, AAUW Morgan Hill, AAUW Rapid City, and AAUW North Hills for your wisdom and your great ideas. And thank you all for attending tonight. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you soon. Bye.